Atimitips Anurogasquia ali sictixerunt tibi de me.
Uomo eguipsetalem questionem propusuissem. Anaecut.
So imagine this scene, right? It's the night of Passover, and Jesus is chilling with his buddies Peter, James, and John in this garden called Gethsemane. But here's the kicker. Satan shows up, trying to mess with Jesus while he's praying so hard that his sweat is like blood, and Satan even pulls this serpent trick. But Jesus ain't having any of it. He shuts down Satan real quick by squashing that serpent's head. And while all this drama is going on, Judas Iscariot, another member of Jesus' crew, gets tempted by some shady folks led by Caiaphas and the Pharisees. They toss him 30 pieces of silver to spill the beans on Jesus' whereabouts. So Judas leads a squad of temple guards to the garden and sells out Jesus. And guess what? That whole shebang is the opening act of the epic movie The Passion of the Christ.
Ke an eshalak Yeshua Nazareth.
Amar lana en ant Meshiach.
Do you know that 2004 flick by Mel Gibson? It's got Jim Caviezel playing Jesus, Maia Morgenstern as Mary, and Monica Bellucci as Mary Magdalene. The movie's all about Jesus' suffering and stuff, based on the accounts from the Bible and some other holy writings. So here's the scoop on the Passion of the Christ resurrection. You'd think with Jesus rising from the dead being a major deal in Christianity, that'd be the big focus, right? Well, not exactly. While the first movie ended with a quick peek at the resurrected Jesus, the sequel seems to be taking a different route. Instead of diving straight into the resurrection, the sequel is rumored to zoom in on those 3 days between Jesus kicking the bucket and coming back to life. You know that time when Chris believed he went down to hell for a showdown with the devil? It's not a super detailed part of the Bible, so there's room for interpretation. And get this, just like the first movie, where some scenes weren't straight from the Bible, the sequel might keep that tradition alive. They've already taken inspiration from Catholic mystics like Mary of Jesus of Agreda and Anne Catherine Emmerich. Emmerich had this wild vision called the harrowing of hell, where Jesus storms hell and takes on the devil. Now, not everyone's on board with this interpretation because it's not super clear in the Bible. If Mel Gibson decides to run with the harrowing of hell angle, he might face some pushback, especially from the evangelical crowd. See, they're big on sticking close to the Bible, so if things get too far out there, it could ruffle some feathers, but hey, it's all part of the movie-making drama, right? With that being said, let's talk about how the first movie went down. So here's how it all went down. After Jesus got arrested. Picture this. Chaos breaks loose as Peter loses his cool and slices off the ear of one of the guards, Malchus. But Jesus, being the ultimate peacemaker, heals Malchus while giving Peter a talking to about violence. Meanwhile, Mary senses something's up and chats with Magdalene, only for John to bust in with the news of Jesus' arrest. They link up with Peter, who's been tailing Jesus and the guards. At the trial, things get heated, with false accusations flying left and right. Some priests who secretly support Jesus get the boot, and when Jesus owns up to being the Son of God, Caiaphas loses it and sentences him to death. As Jesus gets pummeled, Peter caves under pressure and denies knowing him, just like Jesus predicted. Judas, drowning in guilt, tries to undo his betrayal but hits a dead end. Literally. Pilate is caught in a tough spot with Jesus, especially after his wife dreams about Jesus being holy. But political pressure wins out, and Jesus ends up on the path to crucifixion. The journey to Golgotha is a nightmare for Jesus, with Satan relishing every moment of his suffering. Along the way, he finds brief solace with his mother, gets some unexpected help from Simon of Cyrene, and receives kindness from a woman before facing the ultimate sacrifice. As Jesus hangs on the cross, he forgives his tormentors, offers salvation to a repentant criminal, and comforts his mother. When he breathes his last, nature itself reacts with an earthquake and a storm. Satan's defeated cry echoes from the depths of hell as Jesus is laid to rest. But the story doesn't end there. 3 days later, he's back, rising from the dead, leaving an empty tomb behind. With that said, where's the sequel to The Passion of the Christ going to take place? It looks like it's heading to Italy, with filming set to go down at Cinematography Studios in Rome and on location in Matera and the spooky ghost town of Krakow, both in Basilicata. Now, Mel Gibson's not holding back on this one. He's footing the bill himself, with an estimated $30 million for production and another $15 million. Get this, he's got a smart move up his sleeve. He used sets left over from Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York to save time and cash. During filming, Mel Gibson had a whole squad of theological advisors on speed dial. They had Father Jonathan Morris and local priest Philip J. Ryan on set daily, offering guidance, confessions, and communion to lead actor Jim Caviezel. They even held mass for the cast and crew at various locations. But here's a wild twist. While they were shooting, lightning struck not once, but twice. The production assistant, John Michelini, got zapped twice and earned the nickname Lightning Boy in the credits. And if that's not enough drama, Jim Caviezel himself got struck too. Talk about electrifying moments on set. Jim Caviezel is back in the spotlight, set to reprise his role as Jesus in The Passion of the Christ Resurrection. After the first movie catapulted him to fame, he's been busy with various projects like Outlander, The Prisoner, and Person of Interest. He even returned to biblical tales for Paul Apostle Christ, playing Luke alongside James Faulkner's Paul. Caviezel's been vocal about the sequel since at least 2020, hinting at what's to come in the script. But he's not the only familiar face making a comeback. Maia Morgenstern is reportedly returning as Mary, Jesus' mother, while Francesco DeVito will once again take on the role of Peter, one of Jesus' closest disciples. And let's not forget Christo Gikov, rumored to be reprising his role as John, whose gospel inspired the first movie's storyline. As for Monica Bellucci and Rosalinda Celentano, it's still up in the air whether they'll return as Magdalene and Satan respectively. As for the story, well, it's all about diving deeper into the aftermath of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. And of course, Judas Iscariot's betrayal will likely play a central role in exploring the complex dynamics between him and Jesus. In The Passion of the Christ Resurrection, the focus seems to shift towards exploring the aftermath of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. A key figure in this narrative is none other than Judas Iscariot, whose betrayal of Jesus sets off a chain of events leading to his crucifixion. We'll likely see the intricate dynamics between Jesus and Judas unravel, delving into the motivations behind Judas's actions and the repercussions they have on both him and Jesus. It's a story that's ripe with drama and emotion, delving into themes of loyalty, forgiveness, and redemption. As the sequel delves into this pivotal moment in biblical history, viewers can expect to be taken on a compelling journey that not only sheds light on the events following Jesus' resurrection, but also delves into the complexities of human nature and faith. And with the return of familiar faces like Jim Caviezel and Maia Morgenstern, along with new additions to the cast, The Passion of the Christ Resurrection promises to be a gripping continuation of the epic tale. If you're itching to geek out over Marvel, DC, and the upcoming Passion of the Christ 2, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got a ton of awesome content headed your way, and we're pumped to dive into some epic discussions with you. Stay tuned for our upcoming videos. Trust us, you won't want to miss out. So keep those eyes peeled, and we'll catch you in the next video for some seriously exciting conversations.